Have you ever heard quotes like, "You can achieve anything if you believe in yourself"? As a kid? And how many times were you told to embrace big dreams? I bet most of us heard this at some point in our lives, and as kids, we were full of hope and believed we could accomplish anything. But as we grew older, that optimism and self-confidence faded away. We become cynical, engage in negative self-talk, and settle for jobs we hate. But the truth is, this attitude is a choice. We adopt it because of negative feedback, harsh criticism, or bullying, and fail to see it as a choice. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that our limitations are imposed on us by others or that they are indicative of the real state of the world. But the authors of this book believe that transcending this defeatist mentality is the key to achieving anything in life. We have to learn to retrain our brains to think differently and embrace the power of thinking big. And this is not just about big dreams and goals, it's about relearning how to see opportunities and possibilities, to take actions and pursue them with passion and perseverance. In this summary, we're going to explore this power and learn how you can tap into your inner child again and believe in the power of your own potential. Let's get started. Chapter 1. Adjust your priorities. Are you someone who constantly feels overwhelmed by a never-ending to-do list? You're not alone. Many of us make our lists in a stream of consciousness manner, jotting down tasks as they come to mind to ensure we don't forget them. But this method of list making can be harmful as it doesn't accurately reflect our true priorities. For example, due to my busy schedule, I often struggle to reply to messages. It doesn't matter if they're important emails or texts from friends. All messages tend to pile up in my inbox and get ignored for days because I simply don't have the time to go through them during a typical day. But because I get anxious looking at my ever-growing list of notifications. There's something especially stressful about those little red pop-ups telling me I have 59 unopened messages. I usually put "answer messages" at the top of my to-do list. This means that when I look back at my to-do list and prepare to start checking things off, answer messages looks like it's the most important thing for me to do. But that might not necessarily be the case. Going through every single message and crafting a personal reply to each one can take me hours. I could easily waste a whole day just working through my inbox. But my messages might not be the most important or most time-sensitive thing I need to do. So if my priorities are off kilter and I tackle messages first, I might fall behind on more important things. I might neglect the project that needs to be completed in 48 hours while I'm answering messages that aren't time-sensitive at all. The author observes that this is a common struggle for a lot of people. Our priorities are often out of alignment, and we don't even realize it. So that's why we need to learn that every item on our to-do list is not equally important and not equally urgent. In fact, only a few of our daily tasks will actually increase our success and get us closer to the futures we want. So if we really want to live our best lives, we need to start by reassessing our priorities and asking ourselves which tasks are really important. We'll always have to do some things like folding the laundry or preparing meals, but it's important that we keep these tasks in perspective. For example, maybe folding the laundry or cleaning the bathroom is a really big deal for you because you feel better about yourself when your house is clean. And if that's the case, that's awesome. You should definitely stay on top of those tasks. But if you have the opportunity to pitch your product to a big investor or take a phone call with someone who could advance your career, don't ever let yourself think, I don't have time for that, I have to clean the bathroom. Sure, that might be a silly example, but you get the idea. Because if we let our priorities get out of hand, it's totally possible that we might neglect amazing opportunities in favor of something we could do anytime. That's why the author's first piece of advice is, don't let that happen to you. But how do you know when your priorities are in the right order? How do you know when your to-do list looks right? To help answer that question, the authors have constructed a formula. They call it the 80-20 principle. This simple principle means that 80% of the real results in your life are achieved by 20% of your work. If you think about that in terms of your to-do list, you realize that 20% is actually a really small amount. So, that means that only a few of your daily tasks will really count for something. That means that your job is to reassess your to-do list with that principle in mind. So, take a look at your list and ask yourself which activities will really contribute to your success and prioritize those. It's important to note that this doesn't mean you should ignore the other tasks on your list, but rather, you should prioritize the most important and time-sensitive tasks first. Additionally, it's important to be mindful of the time you spend on each task. Keep in mind the Pareto principle, which states that 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. In other words, 20% of your tasks will likely take up 80% of your time. Therefore, it's important to identify these tasks and try to minimize the time and energy you spend on them. To sum up, creating a to-do list can be a useful tool, but it's important to be mindful of our priorities and the time we spend on each task. By using the 80-20 principle, we can ensure that we are focusing on the tasks that truly matter and that will help us achieve our goals. So, take a step back and reassess your to-do list and make sure that it reflects your true priorities. Chapter 2: What's your one thing? In the previous chapter, we discussed the importance of narrowing down your to-do list and identifying the tasks that will have the greatest impact on your future success. But in this chapter, we're going to take it a step further by introducing you to the concept of the one thing. Your one thing can be applied to any situation as it serves as a focusing question. A focusing question is exactly what it sounds like. It's a question you can ask yourself to improve your focus on any given task or goal. For example, let's say you're feeling overwhelmed by your to-do list. Instead of getting stressed out and confused, you can break it down into manageable chunks by asking yourself, what's the one thing I can do right now that will make this situation better and simplify my to-do list? This question can be applied to both short-term tasks, like organizing your craft room, and long-term goals, like deciding what college to attend or what career to pursue. To give you an example, let's say you're starting your own crafting business but your craft room is so chaotic, you don't even know where to start. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you can ask yourself, what's the one thing I can do right now that will make this situation better and simplify my to-do list? The answer might be to go by organizing supplies so that you can put things in their proper place as you go. By asking focusing questions, you can break down your tasks and take it one step at a time. The authors want to stress that focusing questions are what sets their work apart from other self-help books. They don't promise something mystical or unrealistic, and they don't claim to do anything for you. Instead, they provide you with the tools to embrace the power of thinking big without getting overwhelmed by it. Remember, this book can't do the work for you, but it's an opportunity to find direction and achieve your goals. Chapter 3: Build Positive Habits. When it comes to self-improvement, discipline and motivation are often touted as key ingredients for success. However, for many people, these traits can feel out of reach. So, how can you achieve your goals if you struggle with focus and motivation? The authors have found that the secret lies in building a sequence of positive habits. Forming habits is easy, and we do it all the time without even realizing it. For example, if we drink our coffee from the same mug every morning or perform our morning routines in the same order, we're creating a habit. It only takes 21 days to form a habit, so if you can do something consistently for just 3 weeks, you've already turned a pattern of behavior into an automatic reflex that you don't even have to think about. The authors believe that this approach is revolutionary because it takes a lot of the stress and pressure out of making good decisions. By forming good habits, they become reflexive, and you don't have to rely on motivation or discipline to make good choices. However, it's important to note that forming new habits can be tough in the beginning. But if you can get in the swing of making good decisions, it will become reflexive before you know it. To form good habits, start by taking it one step at a time. For example, if you have a lot of unanswered messages that make you anxious, dedicate a solid hour of your day to going through them. Once you've made this a habit, switch to something else you want to improve and work on that. The key to success is to switch up your habits. Once you've mastered one, work on something else. This is how the most successful people stay at the top of their game. Remember, forming good habits doesn't have to be stressful. Take it one step at a time and let your natural habit-forming tendencies do the rest. In order to make this process easier, the authors suggest setting specific, measurable, and achievable goals for each habit you want to form. This will give you a clear idea of what you want to achieve and how to measure your progress. Additionally, they recommend creating a plan of action, including specific steps you will take and a timeline for achieving your goal. This will help you stay focused and on track. Another tip is to find an accountability partner, someone who can help you stay motivated and on track and also share your progress with them. Lastly, it's important to be patient with yourself and remember that forming habits takes time and effort, but it is well worth it in the long run. With the right mindset and approach, you can turn your goals into reality, one habit at a time. So, you're probably wondering what it truly takes to be successful in life. With so many self-help books, success stories, and motivational speakers all offering different advice, it can feel overwhelming and confusing. But the authors believe that the key to success is identifying your one thing. By focusing on your one thing and asking focusing questions, developing positive habits, and embracing the power of thinking big, you can simplify your self-improvement journey and achieve your goals. Remember, it's not about doing everything, it's about doing the one thing that will make the most impact on your life. So, find your one thing and focus on it, and you'll be well on your way to success. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you have any suggestions for future content or specific book or review-related topics you'd like me to cover, please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and turn on notifications to never miss a new video. Thanks again for joining me here on Bookish, and I'll see you in the next one.